Hey guys, what's going on? Basin here, and welcome to another video here on the channel. Today in our Ramble review series, we're going to be talking about one of the most interesting games of all time, I guess. There's a very nice sort of thing around Hades in itself, and I'm excited to talk about that and talk about my experience with Hades and how I feel about the game and everything like that. Once again, if you enjoy this sort of content, please make sure you drop a like and click that subscribe button for me, and click that little bell there as well. Also, leave a comment. I love to hear about the games that you would like me to play. Once again, as I said, there's a lot of games that I have played in the past, but there's also so many that I haven't, and I would love to hear from all of you games that you would love for me to play, and I would love to play them for you and give you a nice review of them. But without further ado, let's jump into Hades. So I'm gonna first off saying I love the gameplay of Hades. Once again, roguelites always have this idea, the way that they handle things about going in and then dying and then coming back and like powering yourself up for the next run and all that sort of stuff. I really enjoyed that. I thought that this game did a really good job of making this game feel fresh and new every time you went into the underworld. I think that was a great job. I think that it was very well done. I liked all the different weapons. I liked the sword, the spear, the shield, the bow, the knuckles, and the gun. All those were amazing. I think that they each had their own play style. I think they all worked uniquely, and I think that it was a really different experience every time you use them. And there's weapons that I'm so much better at, and there's weapons that I'm not so great at using. But it's also one of the things that happens with most of these sorts of games. When you get multiple weapons, you find one that just kind of sticks for you, and you just kind of work your way through it. For me, it was the bow. The bow was the run that I first beat the final boss on. I'm not going to try and spoil anything for any of you, but the final boss of the runs, I was able to beat them and get to the quote-unquote first ending of the game, because there's multiple endings of this game. We'll get to that when we get to the story, but just yeah, the bow was my kind of sort of go-to. It just felt right for me. It just kind of fit my playstyle better, because I have a tendency when I go into roguelites and like games like this, like dungeon crawlers, I tend to just go straight in and go as fast as I can and try and kill as many things as quickly as I can. And I know that it works for some people, but for me, who's very clumsy sometimes, it just never works out really. Like the sword, I am not great with the sword, even with all the power-ups and everything. The sword is not my sort of weapon. The shield I can use, the spears, I'm pretty good with the spear, but the bow and the gun really seem to be my weapons of choice. Like I'm really good with both of them. And once again, you're gonna play this game if you haven't played it yet, and you're gonna find your weapon of choice, and you're really gonna enjoy it. The next thing I'm going to move on to is the design, the graphical design, the way that the artists and everything did the design of the game. I absolutely enjoyed it. I think the design of this game is perfect for this sort of game with the Greek gods and stuff like that, having a unique take on them and everything like that. I absolutely adore it. I think that it really fit the style. It kind of gave this game its own life in a sort of way. And I once again, I just think it was a very good choice stylistically. The way that the characters look when you get a boon or something like that, it just kind of works, and it kind of looks just great. I don't have anything else to say besides I think this game looks great. The effects look great, the enemies look great, everything just kind of fits. Nothing ever feels out of place. And I was worried about coming into this game because I watched the art style and I was like, oh, I don't know if this game's gonna feel like very glitchy isn't the word, but a very stuttery, because there's some games like Death's Door, for example. I talked about it a little bit in my review, but the game kind of had like a little stutteriness to it, not in a bad way, but like it just wasn't like as responsive as Hades is, and I think that's where I kind of got spoiled on these sorts of roguelites, is that Hades Hades has such a really great system for movement, like the dashes and everything just feels so smooth. And like the design looks so good. I was worried that like because of the design stuff was going to lack, but it didn't. I think it just worked really well. And now I want to talk. Every once in a while I talk about it, but I think specifically in this game, the voice acting cast makes this game amazing. I think all the Greek gods, the way that they're voiced, the way Zagreus is voiced, the way that Hades is voiced, all these characters have a unique personality, and it comes through in each of these characters. And nothing's ever like out of line with, if you're into Greek mythology, like nothing's ever out of line with it. It fits their characters very well. But Supergiant came in and just said, hey, we're gonna do our own take on the Greek gods and you're gonna like it. And I really liked it, which is really cool. The Hades does such a good job, as the person who plays Hades does such a good job at conveying the emotion of being a father to Zagreus. Like it absolutely is amazing the way that he does it, and the way that Zagreus just talks to all these different characters, and the way that the conversations just kind of happen. It's really good, and especially at the end when you get to meet a character, like that payoff moment just kind of hits because the voice acting is so good and it fits the style of the game. And it's just, I absolutely enjoy it. I thought the voice acting was one of the best parts about this game, along with the gameplay and the design, as I talked about. But I think the voice acting was superb for this game, and I think it kind of helped to make the story what it was. Now moving on to the story, this is where I start to falter a little bit. I like games that have a very concrete story, and this game did have a concrete story, I guess, in a way, because you knew what the ending goal was going to be, and you know how you wanted to get there. It was like, okay, we're gonna get to this point, especially someone who's not great at roguelikes like this, and kept trying different weapons, and I just kept trying to figure out what was going to work for me. I put 24 hours into this game before I completed my first run, if that's any indication. So every time I would go into the underworld and try to climb all the way up, it got frustrating, because even though I never got, like, I may have gotten the same dialogue once or twice from like the boons and stuff like that, it's just so frustrating not getting these bits of story that I really wanted. Like, I really wanted to get to that point where I could finish, quote unquote, finish the main story. And there's of course so much more after you beat the final boss at the end, because you have to go back and you can do stuff again. But I think that it got very frustrating for me, as every run I would do, I really wouldn't get bits and pieces of like more story related to that. It was just like, oh, you have to beat it, oh, you have to do this, so to like actually move the hard plot forward. And that's not here to say that all the little conversations you have whenever you die and you go back to the house of Hades, and having the conversations with Hades, some of the other characters, Nyx is one of the first characters you meet, having conversations with her, having conversations with some of the other bosses and the people in the game. Like, that's fun, and it's great, and it gives you backstory, which is great. I love learning about these characters. I think these characters in this game, like, they have great stories. It's just nothing ever felt super connected. It all kind of felt loose. And that's not what I enjoy in video games, when these stories are like, oh, background, but it's never mentioned again, or if it is, it's just mentioned later. Maybe it's just me being not being the biggest fan of roguelites, and it just kind of, I just felt like this game went on for a while. Maybe it's just because I'm not good at them. Maybe that's what it is. But when I listened to reviews last year of this game and I played it for myself, everyone talked about how good this game was, and I came in with such high expectations coming into this game that I think it ruined it for me. I think my high expectations ruined the experience of playing Hades for me 100%. I think that's what it was, but it just never hit like I was expecting it to. I mean, it was just kind of a roguelike story that was like really cool because I love Greek gods, and the Greek gods were really cool. The designs of the gods were really cool, but it didn't grab me like some of these other games do. So I've tended recently to get away from scoring games because I like in these reviews, because I feel like my opinion is what my review is, not the score that I give it at the end. But I specifically think with a game like this, it's okay to give a number to it, because it kind of helps show where my feelings are in this. I definitely put this game at like a 8.3, 83 maybe, 84 possibly. It's good, it's absolutely great, but it's just not my type of game. It's not, and I think that it's okay. I'm realizing playing through this and making these reviews that there's games that I enjoy, like specific types of games that I enjoy, and there's specific types of games that I really don't enjoy that much, and I'm realizing that's okay. So please leave a comment below giving me your thoughts on Hades and why you either like the game or you dislike the game, because I love to have that open conversation with all of you. So moving on, we're going to talk about what we're going to talk about on Sunday. That sounded weird, but the next game we will be playing is That is right, everybody. We are going to be playing Ghost of Tsushima, and I'm excited to jump into this game. I mean, I've beaten this game before. The director's cut just came out recently, which is the version that I'm going to be playing, so we're going to be focusing on Iki Island as well, and I'm so excited for that. Yeah, so I am very, very, very excited to jump into Ghost of Tsushima again with the director's cut and everything like that, and see what they've added, just how the game feels at this sort of level and how it looks. I'm assuming it's going to look amazing, but we will see. All right, if you enjoyed, once again, please make sure you click that like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out here. Also, leave a comment about your thoughts on Hades, or just a game that you would like me to see play in the future. All right, I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your Wednesday if you're watching this on Wednesday, and don't forget, tell somebody you love them, and I will see you back here for the next video.